Yeah, I mean, I think we feel very grateful. I mean, this movie is so universal that I think it can appeal to all audiences from every different culture, and it's nice to be in Mexico and sort of see, we haven't really seen an international response to the movie yet, so it's neat to be here and know that other people are interested in it.
That's a good point. Yeah, we haven't actually seen anything outside the US yet, so seeing Mexican fans who love the books and the characters is really awesome.
M&M's scare me.
Imagine.
Yeah. Dinosaurs.
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 I do have a recurring actor dream where I go out on stage and I forget my lines.
You say go out on stage naked.
Well, that would be a fantasy. Not a nightmare.
Okay.
That's a hard one. Because I'm very close with my family. I would probably choose Pursuit of Happiness. But at the end of the day, I have such a loving and supportive family that I know my mom would sneak in and be like, I love you, give you one more hug. So I wouldn't be too worried about it.
Yeah, big time. I've got to come from a big family, and I know Shay's family is very important as well to her. I was about to say to me. Yeah, I think so. My grandfather's Greek. I don't know, there's that Greek family thing, but I guess there's family everywhere. But
they love lamb.
They love smashing. They love hugs. Yes, it is
They
important.
love hugs.
Oh, yeah, hugs. Yeah, and I think it's important to have them around constantly, especially when you're doing a big kind of crazy job like this, where you're all over the place, because they, remind you of who you are and what is real, and the people that you can know that you can trust. Trust.
And for you?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I kind of go. My mom travels with me a lot, and I always, whether it's I sort of the blurred lines between family and close friends, it doesn't really matter to me if you're blood related or not. It's sort of like the core people that you keep around you. And I'm very fortunate. The woman who does my makeup actually is one of my best friends.
Wow.
So we get to travel together everywhere, which is really, it is such a gift. Like Theo was saying, at the end of the day, to go back to your room sort of after analyzing yourself all day and talk about shit that doesn't have to do with the movie, or it doesn't have to do with this industry at all. And it's just nice to have that familiar eyes.
And if you don't, because the danger is inevitably being an actor, the product is you, and you end up fucking talking about yourself all day long. And then you fucking turns yourself so inward that you don't think about other people, or you can't listen in a conversation because you're so used to just talking about yourself.
Okay.
So keep your family close and your enemies even closer.
Good advice.
I don't think it's criticizing society. I think it's giving it's sort of an objective viewpoint of what, society, I don't think it'll become that, but what society sort of exists as now, like Theo was saying earlier, like putting people in boxes or trying to stereotype or trying to fit into a particular group or a particular story.
I think the complexity of the characters, I think we're lucky in the sense that if we are lucky enough to do all three books, then because of the complexity of the characters, you get to really explore them deeper every time you do the next book. The characters really evolve, and in the story, even in the first movie, both Triss and Four have a really unique arc. Triss goes from, sorry, I'm speaking for you. But,
No.
Shay's character goes from kind of being abnegation and rejecting vanity and almost not being able to almost run, not being used to that, kind of almost weak in a way, and then she empowers herself and finds herself through the course of the whole film. And in a different way, Four is a kind of closed, damaged person who doesn't trust anyone, and then through the course of the film, through him falling in love with Shay's character, begins to open up and begins to trust again.
I think I'm very similar to Tris, sort of in general. I grew up with compassion and empathy being really important values that my parents instilled in my brother and I. And by nature, I consider myself a very strong person. And so when I was Tris's age, I definitely resonated with her having to choose, am I selfless or am I brave? Or how can I find the fine balance between being courageous and also empathetic towards others and still valuing myself and my own integrity. And, you know, once you sort of grow a little bit, you realize that you don't have to choose one or the other. It's like when you bring them all together, the true power, I guess, inner stillness lies. But when I was her age, I'm very similar to Tris.
Yeah, there are things I share with him. Definitely, I like to think that I live a kind of moral life, although that doesn't always happen. And you know that I live by kind of a fairly coherent moral code. That makes me sound like a anyway. Also,
What are your morals?
Always finish your drink. But also, I think it takes a while to get to know me. I'm friendly, but I'm a kind of closed book. And some of his some of his darker qualities are somewhere floating around in my head.
Okay.
That was a terrible answer.
You know, the fight that Tris and Forrest shared at the end was a little bit. I remember I learned that fight. I would learn the steps and the sequences right before we did it. I think you knew it somewhat beforehand, but I didn't really learn it until the day of, for the most part.
Didn't have time.
Yeah, there wasn't enough time, so that felt a little bit not dangerous per se, but he's actually a very good fighter, and so I felt intimidated. Like if I didn't pay attention or if I forgot to duck at a certain point, I'd get some teeth knocked out.
She's pretty tough. She's pretty tough.
You're tougher.
She took a fall from the train because we had to jump on. She had to do it more than me, but and you know, literally got right back up. She didn't even blink, even though she kind of fucked herself up. Yeah. Yeah. No, I don't.
No, like I'm speechless.
What'd you do if I actually had the real tattoo? Yeah.
No, neither you.
No.
Shay's thinking about getting one off my face.
Just specifically his eyebrows, though.
Ears.
Yeah, like little wings.
Okay.
That would be so random.
What are those? Theo James eyebrows.
Bushy wings.
I'd probably choose Dauntless. I would definitely choose Dauntless because they have fun. They get to fuck around and screw around, and they get to be the warriors, which I think is pretty fun.
I would choose
Ninjas.
some Dauntless and a bit of Erudite. Yeah, that would be mine. I think.
Kick-ass.
I like the brotherhood and the brother and sisterhood of the kind of military, you know, hood, and I kind of vaguely analytical thinker. So
Vaguely.
So Erudite would interest me.
Okay.
And I like Kate Winslet. And I like the costumes they wear.
Yeah, they wear blue. He looks good in blue.
They're the coolest.
Yeah, it brings out my. I think it's really interesting, and it adds a really deep and strong layer to him, and that's kind of where I started with the character when I just started thinking about him, because you know, with abuse at a young age, you know, people tend to create barriers because they never want to be in that situation ever again. And they never want to be kind of, you know, treated like that. So they have these barriers, and then they become quite tough, and they find it difficult to open up like he does. And so I think it was an interesting layer to use to start building the character.
I mean, I think you sort of hope, you know, but as part of your job as an actor, it's to just sort of surrender to the process and let go. Once you leave a movie set, you know, when you're on set, obviously there's a lot that you can control and add to the process, but once the film wraps, it's really in the hands of the studio and the producers and the editor and the director, so you don't really know what the final product is going to be. And people, you know, before the movie came out, was like, "Are you worried? Are you stressed? Are you a little nervous?" Like, that's not my job to be nervous. You know, that's the studio's job, because that's, you know, it's sort of their, it's in their hands.
Yeah, I agree. Once you've done your job, as hard as it sometimes is, you have to let go and just
let it flow.
Yeah, as Shay said, surrender yourself to it, because it's completely out of your control, which is frustrating because often actors tend to be control freaks. So you know, you have to physically almost let go, but yeah, you can't worry about it too much. No.
Changed your lifetime.
Yeah, changed my life hugely.
No.
No, and honestly,
all.
there's nothing. Certainly now, nothing has changed at all.
And even, you know, external things maybe that are a little bit different, like this, for instance, being in Mexico City and I'm talking about a film. It doesn't matter what happens in your external world as long as your internal world is, you know, maintained and you continue the lifestyle that makes you happiest and you know who you are, then you're just cruising, man. Every day something new happens, right? It's raining one day, there's like sunshine the next day. Could be good surf tomorrow.
You were pretty sure, weren't you?
No, I mean, I started acting when I was 5, and as a kid, I always said that it was something, I was going to be a teacher, and I was just going to act on the weekends. And then I was like, I'm going to be an interior designer or a psychologist and act on the weekends. And it wasn't really until The Descendants that I realized that it was more of a career, not just a hobby, not just something I would do purely for the fun of it. But I always say, like, the day that it becomes tedious or boring or not creatively stimulating anymore, I'm not going to do it, because life is too short.
Yeah, I kind of had a moment of deciding whether I'd do it, because I came out of university and I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I thought about music, and then at one point I thought about law. But then it was always there, and I'd always kind of done it, and it would always been in my periphery. So I had an ex-girlfriend at the time, which was auditioning for these drama schools they have in England, and I was like, fuck it, so I did that, and it went from there.
Okay.
That's so crazy how things happen.
It's weird, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Enjoy your stay in Mexico.